Silence fell across the cosmos as the darkness advanced, an endless void devouring worlds, stars, and entire civilizations in its path. It began as an anomaly at the eastern region of the galactic spiral, distant rumors of empty systems where once thriving planets had gone dark without explanation. Frantic refugee ships fled the affected areas, carrying rumors of a sinister presence that annihilated all life it touched. Over decades, the phenomenon spread across neighboring sectors, wiping out centuries-old empires and technological wonders. It arrived with no warning, other than an overwhelming dread that pervaded the hearts of those who sensed it. Scientists of 1,000 worlds dug into ancient texts and cosmic data, desperate to find a clue about the unstoppable wave that they called the consuming darkness. On Earth, humanity's knowledge of interstellar life was still in its infancy. Despite sporadic reports of unidentified aerial phenomena, Earth's population remained largely oblivious to the dangers lurking beyond their atmosphere. Major powers poured resources into space exploration for reasons of prestige, curiosity, and national security. But nobody on Earth truly believed extinction could come from a force they had never even heard of. Life went on. Children attended school, adults hurried to work, and nations argued over borders. Yet at night, obscure signals sometimes crackled across radio bands, carrying frantic transmissions in alien languages. Unbeknownst to most, Earth's radio telescopes occasionally detected faint distress calls from far-off places. In data storage facilities, incomprehensible logs collected dust, lost in bureaucratic tedium. By the time the first refugees arrived, the galaxy's map had changed. Interstellar highways were marked by rampaging emptiness, punctuated by scattered enclaves of survivors whose only impulse was to flee. In the midst of the chaos, rumors spread of one planet systematically overlooked by the darkness, a blue-green sphere in an unremarkable corner of the Milky Way. No one knew why it remained safe, or why the darkness had apparently skirted around that specific star system. Yet the stories persisted, and the battered survivors clung to hope. Throughout the galaxy, tongues both reptilian and silicon-based whispered of Earth, once hidden in the background noise of thousands of star systems, now rumored to be an impregnable sanctuary. The first wave of refugees was small, merely 3 ships. They were battered patchwork vessels from the Geonestrian sector. Their species had foreheads studded with horns that curled back around elongated skulls. Even in desperation, they tried to maintain some dignity, signaling Earth authorities with formal greetings in stilted translations. Their battered ships materialized at the edges of the solar system, near Pluto's orbit. Communication took days to establish, as their language had never been encountered by Earth's modest planetary defense and exploration networks. When the Galactic finally made contact, the disconcerted staff at Earth's largest space station struggled to translate the repeated pleas for refuge. Amid frantic negotiations, the Galactic refused to approach Earth's atmosphere without explicit permission. They were not invaders, they insisted. They were pilgrims, seeking protection. They transmitted holograms depicting the unspeakable devastation of their home. Images of their once gleaming cityscapes snuffed out as though the stars themselves had drained the light from their skies. After days of confusion, an emergency session at the United Nations in Geneva decided to allow them landing permits. The debate had spanned many time zones, involving heated arguments. Some believed these aliens might be Trojan horses. Others invoked humanitarian ethics, arguing that Earth had a moral obligation to help any intelligent life form in dire need. Finally, the official word came: we offer refuge. The Galactic ships descended over the deserts of northern Africa, carrying a few hundred survivors. News channels blared the historic moment in real time. When the battered aliens emerged from their crafts, trembling from the harrowing journey, they bowed in gratitude and offered complex, swirling gestures with their multi-jointed limbs. Earth's scientists rushed forward, instruments buzzing and whirring, not with the intention to harm, but to understand. Crowds gathered around televisions to watch in awe as these cosmic refugees breathed Earth's air with cautious relief, their gestures signifying hope and fear intermingled. Over the coming weeks, they were given a secured environment to adapt. Friendly Earth specialists, some quite anxious themselves, brought them water, ran medical tests, and tried to learn their language. Before the world could fully process that extraordinary event, more ships materialized along Earth's orbital outskirts, refugees from star systems that had faced the same unstoppable wave. The Thara, a technologically advanced civilization known for living in artificial tetrahedral habitats, arrived next. They had lost entire galaxies of data and culture, but managed to save seeds of their advanced horticulture. Following them came the Grifub, an amphibious species seeking bodies of water to inhabit. In just 6 months, the solar system's outer orbits became crowded with tentatively parked craft, each broadcasting pleas for sanctuary. Pyramid-shaped vessels of crystalline alloy hovered alongside insectoid warships converted for civilian transport. The variety of ship designs and life forms rivaled the most imaginative depictions of science fiction. Earth authorities scrambled to respond. Human ambassadors, hastily trained in a crash course of xenolinguistics, shuttled to the moored vessels aboard newly retrofitted craft. It soon became obvious that Earth alone could not accommodate the entire burden of an exodus spanning half the Milky Way. The planet's capacity for farmland, water, and living space, though significant, was finite. Over neon-lit teleconference screens, leaders of the fledgling Earth Alliance hammered out treaties that demanded cooperation. Alien enclaves were permitted in carefully designated zones, but the arrivals had to contribute to local infrastructure and abide by Earth's fundamental laws. This uneasy arrangement sparked debate among refugees, many of whom were reeling from the trauma of annihilation. Some argued for forging alliances, for offering their advanced technology to bolster Earth's position, while others, distrustful, believed they should stay aloof. Despite these uncertainties, no one doubted Earth's unique status. It was the last place not touched by the darkness. While the new inhabitants built domes and underwater colonies, Earth scientists worked feverishly to confront the cosmic threat. Top researchers from the newly formed Interstellar Security Council joined forces with alien physicists, historians, and philosophers, combing ancient databases for insights into the darkness. They discovered scattered references depicting a cataclysmic event from millions of years past, an entity that devoured light and life. It had emerged, consumed a vast swath of the galaxy, then receded. All that survived were myths and half-baked legends. One fragmentary text suggested that the darkness was older than the galaxy itself, a fundamental aspect of reality's shadow side. Another claimed it was an embodiment of cosmic entropy, destined to erase all forms of existence. The details were contradictory, the sources incomplete. Nonetheless, these diverse teams worked around the clock, establishing deep space observational posts near the Kuiper Belt, analyzing gravitational anomalies and dark energy frequencies. They sought patterns in the darkness's movement. Did it move randomly or follow a set path? Choose entire star systems or skip some? More importantly, why had Earth remained untouched, hidden in plain sight? One hypothesis proposed that Earth's electromagnetic signature was shielded by the Sun's specific solar wind pattern, making this system effectively invisible. Another theory speculated that the planet's biosphere generated a unique energy field that repulsed the darkness. Skeptics retorted that it was only a matter of time before the wave arrived here as well. In the midst of this scientific scramble, Earth's cultural fabric was upended. Neighborhoods shifted. Distant farmland was designated for alien cultivation, and new seeds introduced genetically modified vegetation from corners of the galaxy. The GRI-FD, living in flooded enclaves within coastal regions, became known for their gentleness and meticulous care of marine life, though lingering xenophobia caused friction at times. Children on Earth started hearing multiple alien languages at markets. The silver-hued Thara introduced advanced energy systems that revolutionized public utilities, leading to sprawling aerial solar collectors glinting in the stratosphere. Despite these innovations, tensions simmered beneath the cooperation. Some areas resented the newcomers, fearing job losses, cultural dilution, or even betrayal. Underground extremist groups began to blame them for Earth's potential doom. A wave of attacks targeted refugee colonies on the outskirts of major cities. In response, human authorities worked with alien leaders to create integrated, armed security forces. The initial shock of collaboration gave way to a determined sense of necessity. Refugees taught Earth's paramedics advanced first responsive protocols, while Earth engineers refined starship repair processes with rugged, cost-accessible designs. Over time, amid the friction and the fear, genuine friendships blossomed, forging an interspecies solidarity that had once been unthinkable. 2 years after the first Gyrinastrian ships landed, the darkness drew closer. The sensors in deep space detected a collapse of stellar neighborhoods only light years away. Further distress calls emerged. Entire cargo fleets transformed into refugee armadas as isolated civilizations realized their last chance for survival lay on a small planet in the Sol system. The newly minted Earth Alliance admitted waves of arrivals until capacity reached a tipping point. Orbital stations expanded, docking with one another to form vast ring-like structures above Earth, while the Moon's surface blossomed with alien ports, supply depots, and research labs. Exploiting resources from asteroids and the Moon, they tried to build a unified defense. Yet, there was a growing sense of despair. Conventional weapons had reportedly failed to halt the darkness elsewhere. Energy cannons simply vanished into its void. Planetary shields collapsed as though assaulted by a primal force. Some believed the only hope was to gather Earth's combined knowledge, human and alien, and develop technology beyond anything previously imagined. They intended to replicate aspects of Earth's seemingly protective aura on a galactic scale. A newly devised project, codenamed Luminal Shield, aimed to amplify the planet's magnetosphere and solar output in harmonic resonance. The mastermind behind it was Dr. Amina Voss, a brilliant astrophysicist who had studied the ancient texts and believed she had uncovered a hidden principle. In collaboration with the Thara, she had gleaned how to transform Earth's electromagnetic fields into a barrier that might repel the darkness. The plan, though ambitious, was untested. Many of the older aliens warned that they had tried similar experiments in the past and failed, only to accelerate their own doom. Dr. Voss retaliated by pointing out that Earth's uniqueness lay in its biodiversity and the way the planet's life fields intertwined. Perhaps that biological synergy could be harnessed like a giant living antenna, generating frequencies that countered the darkness's entropic effect. As the countdown to the darkness's arrival accelerated, each night sky looked more ominous. Stars flickered erratically, and strange gravitational distortions tugged at distant comets. After many sleepless nights, the Earth Alliance decided that if they did nothing, they were doomed. The luminal shield was their last resort. The plan called for installing spires on every continent and in orbit, each spire housing advanced wave generators. The spires would link, sending pulses deep into the Earth's core and outward into space, relying on the planet's entire living ecosystem to amplify the wave of energy. The Gyrinastrians contributed knowledge of crystallizing natural minerals for better signal conduction. The Thara fine-tuned the wave algorithms, and the Griefi have refined the cooling systems. Even the newly arrived Basral migrants, a massive arthropod race, matted a specialized exoskeletal resin to strengthen the massive spires. Earth's human population pitched in, too. Every government donated labor, heavy machinery, and skilled workers. Despite the sense of impending doom, a new spirit of collaboration and genuine respect began to take shape. Alien educators visited human schools, explaining philosophies born on star systems whose suns had different spectral frequencies. Earth's young generation learned that existence was grander and more intertwined than they had ever known. Cultural exchange events lit up the cities. Holographic sculptures depicting the Gernastrian creation myths towered beside Earth's cathedrals, forming a tapestry of shared heritage. It was a fleeting harmony overshadowed by the specter of unstoppable ruin, yet it gave them strength. Then, inevitably, the darkness arrived at the edge of the solar system. Deep space probes transmitted the last few images. Jupiter's swirling storm illuminated for a moment before the feed went black. Saturn's magnificent rings glowed in an echo of silhouette and then vanished. Refugee ships that had lingered too far from Earth's protective sphere simply winked out, along with their final transmissions of terror and heartbreak. Astronomers watching from Earth wept openly at the annihilation. There was no time to mourn, for the unstoppable wave continued to surge forward. People took to bunkers, high towers, and dens to pray, to weep, to hope. On the day the darkness entered Earth's orbit, the luminal shield was only hours from full activation. Dr. Voss and her team were perched in a control station on the moon, finalizing calculations. The order was given to engage the spires. All across Earth, in seas and deserts and towering cityscapes, the spires began to hum with resonant energy. The planet seemed to vibrate with a deep, almost musical thrum, perceptible to every living creature. Birds took flight in massive flocks, oceans shimmered with unnatural phosphorescence, and trees glowed faintly with an otherworldly luminescence. As the wave generators synchronized, the spires unleashed a brilliant lattice of light that enfolded the planet. At first, it was just a shimmering dome, a cosmic bubble flickering with swirling patterns of rainbow energy. But then, the darkness drew closer, pressing against the shield's perimeter like an oil slick around a brilliant gemstone. For a moment, cosmic silence reigned. Every monitor, sensor, and living being seemed to hold its breath. The darkness quivered. Slowly, it began to wrap around the shield's edges, straining against the barrier. Alarms blared in the lunar station as Dr. Voss checked the readings. A surge of external pressure threatened to destabilize the shield. Could it truly hold? The gloom seemed infinite, an insatiable force pressing upon the luminous veil. Yet Earth's shield refused to collapse. Gathering courage, Voss triggered the system's second phase, funneling Earth's unified biosignatures into the shield. The planet's living frequency spilled out in waves, forging a resonant feedback loop with the cosmic environment. The air itself crackled with energy. Millions of eyes, human and alien, witnessed a sight never before seen in the cosmos. The darkness writhed as though in pain. It swirled, churning, searching for a weak point. Then, in a slow, rippling retreat, it peeled away from the shield's perimeter. Like a defeated storm cloud, it withdrew beyond the moon's orbit. Astronomers clung to their instruments, capturing data showing that the darkness was in full retreat. As it pulled back, the entire solar system re-emerged, briefly illuminated. In the final moments, the darkness cast one menacing flicker, then vanished into the same cosmic emptiness from which it had emerged. The weight of relief and disbelief washed over every living soul on Earth. Cheers erupted from control rooms and refugee enclaves alike. Many aliens sank to their knees, their eyes brimming with emotions impossible for humans to fully comprehend. Others clapped their limbs or waved exoskeletal claws in triumphant gestures. Humanity let out a collective roar of celebration. After all the fear, the unknown, the monumental effort, Earth had survived. No one knew how long the victory would last, whether the darkness might return, but for that day, relief spread like wildfire. In the aftermath, hearts remained heavy for those who had been lost. Large swathes of the galaxy lay empty, entire species gone forever. Earth emerged as the last bastion of life, its luminous legacy shining in a dark universe. Refugees who had arrived as strangers found themselves indispensable partners in rebuilding civilization. The catastrophic threat had brought them together in ways no treaty could have. It was not pure victory. No one could replace what was destroyed, but it was a reprieve. And with that reprieve came the possibility of rebuilding, of forging a new identity for everyone who called Earth home. The cosmic shield could be maintained as long as Earth's environment thrived. This realization infused every policy with renewed focus on protecting the planet, its diverse life, and its carefully integrated alien populations. The GREEF mapped out ways to restore Earth's oceans. The Thera improved energy efficiency, and the Garanazrians contributed advanced medical technologies. Humanity, for its part, recognized that its role was not simply host, but guardian of the living tapestry that made Earth unique. Earth's population, human and alien alike, needed to unite in stewardship of the only planet protected from the cosmic void. As remnants of the galaxy's civilizations converged on Earth, what began as a chaotic refuge gradually turned into the seeds of a galactic renaissance. Hollow vaults of knowledge from across the Milky Way found safe storage in Earth's digital libraries. Xenologists from half a dozen worlds took up academic posts in Earth's universities, comparing their histories with humanity's. The new generation of children grew up in a world where mothers had scales, or exoskeletons, or forearms, and bilingual or trilingual speech was the norm. All the while, researchers continued to watch the night sky, uncertain whether the darkness lurked beyond the system, waiting for another moment to strike. It became a universal truth that vigilance was necessary, but so was celebration of the moment. Festivals honoring lost worlds sprang up, memorializing what had been destroyed and shining a light on the gift of survival. In these solemn yet joyful gatherings, humans danced with Giranastrians under flickering lanterns. Thara performed geometric light shows, and Griefif sang haunting aquatic melodies that reverberated through watery amphitheaters built along newly restored coastlines. Clusters of refugees ventured out to reclaim some territory in the solar system. The gas mining stations on Jupiter's moons were rebuilt. Martian outposts thrived under governed terraforming procedures, welcoming the toughest of explorers, human and alien. The forging of the Earth-led planetary coalition formalized a vow. If the darkness ever returned, they would meet it with unity, far beyond what it had encountered before. This was both a statement of defiance and an affirmation of hope. In time, the rumor of Earth's rescue spread across the surviving pockets of the galaxy. Old signals transmitted from unknown enclaves discovered that the unstoppable wave had, indeed, stopped outside Sol. They pointed their battered starships once more toward the blue world, still the final refuge, and now a symbol of light amidst the cosmic gloom. In spaceports orbiting Earth, newly arrived species that had traveled centuries in cryosleep disembarked, their world long lost. In them, Earth's inhabitants recognized the same haunted look that had once graced the faces of the Geranastrians. Yet dwelling alongside the sorrow was an ember of renewed faith. Time passed, and the planet bustled with new life. Advanced medicine and the blending of alien horticulture with Earth's ecological diversity produced lush forest, farmland, and coral reefs. Strata of integrated architecture rose with arching spirals, a blend of human engineering and alien aesthetics. Even as the scars of the galaxy's collapse persisted, a new era of mutual respect and synergy began. Earth was no longer just Earth. It was a cosmic sanctuary with a humbling responsibility on its shoulders. Decades later, as Dr. Voss aged in her small lunar living quarters, she worked with her successors on refining the luminal shield. Her once lightly hair had turned silver, and her hands trembled slightly when she ran the computations. Yet she never lost faith in the planet she called home. Surrounding her were Joranastrian mathematicians and Thara engineer apprentices. They too believed that Earth's living tapestry could be a cosmic bulwark if nurtured properly. Far below, the planet's surface witnessed a future unimaginable just a generation earlier. Humans strolled through open-air markets with Grife vendors selling exotic aquatic fruits, Bazaral artisans weaving exoskeletal filaments into graceful coverings, and Thora mentors coaching Earth students in advanced quantum mechanics. Skeptics still worried about an eventual return of the dark wave, but each day the fear grew weaker as new alliances cropped up. Each dawn seemed like a gentle promise that, at least for now, the darkness had been turned away from this tiny corner of the galaxy. Even so, vestiges of sorrow lingered for worlds lost forever. Among the refugees, stories were passed down through songs, sculptures, and oral histories, ensuring those fallen realms would never be truly forgotten. Though entire galaxies had once teemed with civilizations, Earth now sheltered the echoes of those stories. Within each tale, sorrow mixed with gratitude, for if not for this improbable planet, every last remnant of life might have vanished into the night. Years melted into decades, and gradually, hope crystallized into a grander plan. The technology behind the luminal shield could be replicated, albeit with immense cooperation. The question was whether life in the galaxy could be resurrected, or at least partially restored. Cross-planetary memory banks held knowledge of how to terraform or jumpstart biospheres. If the darkness truly had retreated, rebuilding certain star systems and luring back life from Earth's sanctuary might be possible. Whispered dreams of restoration swirled among academics, philosophers, and spiritual leaders. They recognized that while no one knew the darkness's true nature, existence itself was cyclical in the cosmos. Great cataclysms were followed by renewal, if the will to persevere remained. Perhaps one day, the galaxy would flourish with new civilizations that, thanks to Earth's stewardship, carried a mosaic of interwoven cultures from 1,000 former worlds. These new societies would glean from Earth's example. Survival was only the first step, unity the second, and creation the final. The planet, that once knew only humans, would serve as the root for cosmic renaissance if it persevered in the face of adversity. And if the darkness came again, the planet would greet it with faith in the synergy of many species, each bringing its unique gifts to bear on the universal stage. For now, each morning sunrise cast its rays across continents, teeming not only with humanity, but with Geranastrian horns, grief fins, Fazral armored torsos, Thera crystal implants, and even newly discovered species that had trickled in from the far reaches. Each day that passed without the darkness returning was a day they all cherished. The trials were not over, but the great shadow had receded. Where once the galaxy cowered in fear, Earth now stood shining, perhaps the safest place in an otherwise unforgiving cosmos. So the people, human and alien, pressed onward, forging a future that dared to hope. In the quiet lull after that cosmic battle, Earth pulsed with life, a small but vital flicker in a universe still uncertain. Yet within that precious glimmer, all who now called Earth their home found something they had thought lost forever: the chance to begin again, side by side, illuminating the darkness beyond their horizon.